All right, today what I want to talk about is some common lure fishing mistakes and how to fix them. So if you're new to lure angling or you just want to hone your skills, look, man, I'm not a professional. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody is a professional. Even the professionals make mistakes. This video, I'm hoping, is going to be for you and you'll get something out of it. So without further ado, let's get right into it, dude. One of the most common mistakes, man, that I see people using is they're using the wrong size lure for the fish that they're targeting. When you get out there, have a look in the water, man, because there's always little fish out there. If they're little fish, go for a smaller lure. If they're bigger bait fish, go for a bigger lure. You've got small bait fish, you've got bigger bait fish, and then you've got let's make some noise and catch a monster lures, man. You've also got to make sure that the lure size is right for the type of fish that you're targeting. I mean, bass aren't going to take a massive 60-gram pike lure. So if you're targeting smaller fish like bass or wrasse, to be fair, you know what, wrasse can get really big, but use smaller lures, because if you put a 60-gram massive huge pike lure out, a bass isn't going to get it. And on the flip side, if you go and you're searching for pike and you put a really tiny one of these, I mean, don't discount it, because to be fair, it does happen, but 9 times out of 10 you put a small one of these out, pike aren't going to go for it. They like bigger, fatter lures, like fish shaped ones, like the Savage Gear 4D trout or the Marius mouse. I don't know how to say it, but it doesn't even look like a mouse, but it's massive. 10 centimeter, 12 centimeter, 4 inch. I don't know how many centimeters that is, but match the bait to the type of fish that you're going for and to the bait fish that's in the water. That's an easy fix. Usually when I go out, I'll chuck a big one, then I'll chuck a medium one, then I'll chuck a small one, and I'll see what they're biting on. So if you're going for bass, chuck out a 12 centimeter. If they're not taking it after about 10 casts, switch down to like a 10 centimeter. And if they're not taking that, switch down to something even smaller. Find what they're looking for. Another mistake that I often see, and I do it myself too, is not switching out your lures. If you're at a spot and one lure isn't catching, just switch it up, because they might not want that profile that day, they might not want that color that day, they might not want that size of it that day. So if you're catching, it's really easy to just leave that one lure on because you know it's catching. But if you're not catching, then why are you going to leave that on there? Change it up, try a different profile, try a different size, try a different color, man. I mean, you're out here anyways, you've got time, and usually, if you're anything like me, you've got a box of these bad boys. This one is double-sided, so I've got plenty to go, and there's times that I go through the entire box, one by one. I'm out here, so why not, man? Conditions play a really big part in it. As much as we want it to go out, chuck a lure out, and bingo bango, Bob's your uncle, and now I got a huge fish. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot more that goes into it, man. You've got the water temperature, you've got the outside weather. I mean, if you were to come out here a couple of days ago during the storm, maybe, but would it have been comfortable for you? Probably not. So the water temperature, the outside temperature, the state of the tide. There's so many apps out there that will help you look at all that stuff. Go and check out ctemp.org. Look at the app on your phone called Windy. There's XC Weather. Those are the 3 that I use. ctemp.org, Windy, and XC Weather. And gnaw tide. Don't forget gnaw tide. That'll tell you your tides and everything. And it's about getting down and checking out the conditions. I came out here to the river today, and the clarity on that water is absolutely, it's muck. It's like mud. I mean, is there anything dude, the water clarity is just foul. Check your water clarity too, man. It will drastically increase your catch rates. It will. Check your water clarity, check your tides, find yourself a spot and fish that spot the entire time. Fish it low tide, high tide, mid tide, slack water, the ebb, everything. Learn that spot, find it out. The weather conditions, one spot might not fish well when there's absolutely no wind, no waves, no flow, nothing like that. But you turn it around on the ebb or on the flood, when there is some movement in the water, it might just kick off, man. So to improve your catch rate, check your conditions. One of the main things that might be hindering your catch rate is the cast. It's all about the cast. It's about practicing your accuracy and your distance. I mean, there is a lot more to a cast than just taking a lure and flipping it out there. Practice your accuracy. Find something and try and get as close as you can to it. Don't hit it because you might get snagged up. But try and get as close as you can to it. Practice it at distance. Practice it up close. Practice it at a distance. It's about getting that accuracy, man. Practice your cast overhead. Practice it sidearm. You can even flip underhand a lure in close quarters. I mean, that underhand flip when you've got a little river that's about 6 to 8 feet across and you try an overhead cast, it's gonna go on the other side into the bushes, and then that sucks because most likely you'll probably lose your lure if you're not lucky. So what you want to do is you want to open your bail arm like so, wing it out, and when you go to close your bail arm with your hand and give your line a little bit of tug, and that'll take out any loops that are around the spool so you don't get any wind knots. And keep your rod tip pointed to where you want your lure to go. If you want your lure to go straight out, you cast and keep your rod tip right where you want that lure to go. If you keep your rod tip down at the water, it's going to go down into the water. If your rod tip is not in the bushes, if your rod tip's up in the air, that's where your lure's going to go. So it takes practice. It really does. It takes some practice. Go out there, practice it, try it out, man. And I can guarantee you it'll improve your catch rates. Definitely. Not a joke. There you have it, guys. So that's only a couple of the common mistakes that people use, that I see people use. Man, I use them. I mean, look, I came down to the river and it's like chocolate. I didn't pay attention to my conditions. I should have known better. It's been a whole bunch of rain and I should have known. Anyways, we're learning all the time. Practice makes permanent. Get out there, practice your cast. I think lure size is one of the main ones. If you are putting an 80 gram, 6 foot lure out and you're not catching any bass, that's probably why. Downsize your lures. And yeah, dude, there's another one, lure color, but I'm gonna cover that in another video when the water's a little bit clearer. I'm out. I'm gonna go chuck this lure a couple more times and get all this mud off of my waders, man.